I'll just add, and then I'll let you guys ask some questions. But Dr. Mike Janor and HAP Care Source has been very instrumental in us being able to get this going again. There are things that we have to do here in this day and age. If you don't partner with somebody, and to partner with somebody like them has been great for us. We're also doing a big clinic for the Boys and Girls Club of Lansing. So it'll kind of teach our players that people are trying to give to them. That's why we got back, and that's what we appreciate Dr. Mike for. And then our players are going to give back to the community, and I think that's really important because this day and age, everybody's getting so much, and there's so many crazy things going on. And without that, man, tell your wife to quit calling. Without that happening, and us giving back to that, to our community, I think none of this stuff happens. So for HAP and their services, I greatly appreciate it. And for our former players that came back, it means the world to me. And for our current players to learn how to do some things in our community, it's kind of a win-win-win, and that doesn't happen all the time.
It's been about 3.5 years with everything that's gone on, too, that you haven't been able to kind of do something
we had something in a smaller version, but you're right. We had the COVID years. But last year we did something, but it wasn't like this. And the addition of being able to have a sponsor to help us fund some of it, do the things that we want to do for our players, and then the chance to do something to give back. This day and age, you got, Midnight Madness you want to do for the kids in the community so they get a chance to see our team play. This will be a chance to have the kids actually work with our kids and our kids work with them. And a lot of these guys grew up in Boys and Girls, organizations. So I think for me it's a privilege to do this. It's exciting for me to do it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Tom, grind and grit is such a part of your program, your fiber, but to get to the point where it's so mainstream now and you get the big sponsors and you get the events after, how do you feel about the growth of that?
Well, I just think there's a lot of schools that like to do what we do. And I will say now that's taken a lot of time too, and not everybody has the same stability we've had. But, the grit and calling it grind week, that's who we are. That's what we are. That's what Michigan State is. And I think that's what makes it special for me, and Travis and Draymond and guys like that, and the team, they kind of named it, and I love the name.
I don't know when Grind Week started, but for all the difficulties of your job these days, this Grind Week is one of the things you must love about it.
Yeah, it's been about 3 years, that we've done something, but when I stood up there yesterday and just looked down and seen the players and the workout, and we've got pro workout guys here. We've got so many different. We got some guys that haven't been back. Kalen Lucas haven't been back for a while, and God, he played so good. I wonder why I won a lot of games. But seeing all those guys and then seeing them interact with our guys has been special. They lifted together. They kind of worked out together a little bit, and then they got to play against each other. And I think some of our guys. Gary Harris put a number on a few people, and Xavier, of course, Draymond. I will say Cohen dunked better than some of those guys, but, even in Kalen, he went at Tyson Walker pretty good, and Tyson said, wow, I didn't realize, and I think that's the difference, the strength, the power, and it's really good for our guys.
Those guys, the older guys, really seem to be enamored with watching Cohen yesterday.
Yeah, I got to admit now, Jason Richardson's coming in later too, but I got to admit, watching guys like JR or Miles or Brandon Dawson or Shannon Brown, those high flyers, is something, but this kid's kind of got another level, and he's 220, and I know you guys won't believe this. He couldn't jump until he came this summer, and I taught him the whole thing in 2 months. That was 2 months of work.
Do you have a number, Tom, like about ballpark-ish of how many former guys you have?
God, I thought there was going to be, 7 or 8 of the pros and then some guys in Europe, and some of our guys left early, because they had to go back to Europe, but I'll bet you we had 20 guys here, some that are still leaving for Europe. some that are, I think 6 that are playing in the league, and a couple other guys. So it's been on. You're right. This is a special moment for me. I mean, a lot of things can happen, but when your guys come back and they come back the way they were, and they were so helpful to everybody, and it's special. It's really special.
You got other coaches that are friends of yours that say privately, "Boy, we wish we had what you had."
There are a lot. I swear to you, there are a lot of guys that, but some of them haven't been at the same place very long. Or, you know, the relationship with Gus and Judd and me means that there's guys coming back. There were guys here. That played for. Let's see. Before Gus, that would have been. No, right after 40. Who was it? Bennington. John Bennington, you know, and there were a couple guys that played there. Pat Miller was here. He played for Gus and then worked for him. So it's not just, you know, one of my goals was to get Johnny Greens of the world back, you know, and some of those guys. And that'll be the goal next year.
Is Kalen playing still here?
He is playing over in Europe, but I told him if there's a guy that I think, right, Lukey? I told you should still be playing, right?
Hey, for real.
All right.
Hit me already.
But he's a guy that I really believe
Gotta be
can play.
Draymond in them. Gotta be the one.
That he played really good, and he drove 2 hours, hour and a half, and jumped on the court and just went. So it's fun to see those guys, and it shows you too what experience does. And I think our young guys learned a little lesson.
How does that elevate them going into it? But even before you guys get to practice and you start going into
Well, it gives you an idea of got a long way to go yet. You know, got a long way to go yet. I mean, Gary Harris was another guy that was sensational. You know, and it's too bad because Jaron got beat today, but Jaron came last. Jaron would be here. In fact, I texted with his mom during it, FaceTime with his mom. She said, "I wish we were here," but. You know, then Mateen comes back. Steve Smith and Magic was here early, but he had to go out because of he's got a little team he's involved with in Washington. So he's out there for that. And Smitty had to fly back yesterday for a NBA TV thing, a seminar they're doing yesterday and today. He flew back day before. He may fly back tomorrow morning back up here. So. We'll all be there to support Mel and hopefully get a win. I think they'll play again a little bit tomorrow, but we're going to have a tailgate out there, and it's special. You know, I think of a lot of things I get to do, and some things I have to do. This is definitely a thing I want to do, and when I see him come back, it's like winning a big game, not just a regular game. It's a big game.
Now, who go back to Cohen and his unique ability? I mean, I know we haven't seen anything like that in a long time. We saw it in Moneyball. What is it going to be like prime time when he does one of those between the legs dunks? Like, how is everybody going to be ready for that? I mean, are you ready for that prime time?
let him do it between the legs.
Hey, if he misses it, I'll be ready for it. I'll tell you that right now. But I mean, Cohen, you know, Cohen's got a ways to go yet. He's got to improve his shooting and this and that, but I love him. He's a great kid. He's got an incredible family, and I got to admit, you know, Doug Wojcik saw him play, and he wasn't that highly recruited at the time, and we got in on him. And usually you get less than you think. We got more than we thought. You know what I mean? Because he's a worker too. He's in here every day working on his shooting. But a lot like Jason wasn't a great shooter coming out. He was a better dunker. You guys remember that. But right now he's a great. That's what Cohen is. But Cohen is inch and a half bigger and 25 pounds heavier than JR. JR was. They called him Bones when we got him. You know, he was 185, 190, and. This kid is 220 now, so he's got a chance, you know, and yet I got some good veterans that, you know, hopefully everybody's going to have to take their turn a little bit. Those veterans are going to be still the key to our season.
I know this event isn't too old, Tom. You said like 3 years, but in this era, player movement that's really accelerated within 3 years. I mean, Does that make it more important to you to have
Yeah,
guys
no, there's a
that
good
have
example.
a connection?
Okay, so what I try to tell some of the people when you're just moving all over, where do you go back to? Where do you go back to? And these guys have a home to come back to, you know, and I think it's important to them. And it's important to me, but I think it's important to them. And that's what makes it so, I think, important, is that they come back, and like some of them haven't been back as often, or maybe playing in Europe, missed it last year. Coach, I had so much fun. This is so awesome seeing the guys. You know, we got that NBA locker room in there. They got their own locker room. They're going to be doing their own thing. It's just been great, and it always helps. You know, we've had some Pied Pipers. Mateen was a Pied Piper, you know, and Magic was a Pied Piper in his era, you know. And now I get Travis and Draymond has been unbelievable. So, you know, that kind of stuff really helps too.
I'm sure for
Brandon Wood, pre-Portal era guy, he's coming back here. I mean, it kind of shows
Because
that there's a home.
I think what it proves is even a guy that was here 1 year, now he grew up kind of a Michigan State fan, but that's the uniqueness, and that's the uniqueness of Draymond. He wants to get everybody back that he even thought of playing with or even watched, and he stays on us to stay on them. But Brandon has been a guy that's come back since the day he's left, you know. I think that means you enjoyed it here, you had fun here, and that's music to my ears.
you recruits notice this, it's been into a recruiting weekend a little bit.
Well, they'll know that they'll know they're here. They'll know they're here. I mean, we can get that out, but yeah, you know, and tomorrow if we play, there'll be some here that'll watch for sure, you know. And so, yeah, that helps too, you know. I mean, everything helps, but I'm just sad that those things don't become more important than NIL or something else, and I want to keep keeping it to the end of the day. This is still the most important thing.
How much are you able to work with your team right now? When
4
school
hours a
started?
week.
4 hours, and that began when school started?
Last week.
Any early impressions? Observations?
Jackson Kohler, all of our bigs have been better. Monty's 16 pounds heavier, and he looks great. He's been really good. I mean, Tyson has played really. Jaden Akins has really shot the sugar out of the ball, and that's been important. AJ's got his weight down, and he's been playing better. You know, I think we got a lot of guys that are playing better. Nobody got worse over the summer, and that's encouraging. I mean, and I think they're really learning how to get together. You know, I think they've really embraced those young guys. And sometimes when you got good young players that come in with big-time hypes, but Fears has played well too. You know, he's the one young guy that's played well right now, and but all of them give us something.
Kind of along the lines of this, is that the Tennessee situation. We were really talking about that.
Yeah, that's
How's it all
exciting.
coming together?
Well, it came together because we did it. Remember when we did it with Georgia? And so as soon as that happened, I called KP and said, hey, I know Rick will want to do it because Rick Barnes and I have gone to Maui. They were supposed to go this year. And I've gone there 4 times. So I said, let's do something for them. Be a great game to have at home, 2 top 10 teams. I think, you know, the only negative is you'll probably play it more to win it instead of just getting your people like you would in a scrimmage. But Rick and I might talk about that too, because, you know, really it's about the cause and us getting better, both of us. So we'll figure out what we're going to do, but it'll be great for our fans. We're able to have referees, and we'll be able to raise some money for people over there, and maybe get some other people that don't have season tickets. You know, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm hoping that we get other people that never seen us play, get a chance to see us play.
Dunk contest.
That might be a good idea. Maybe we'll throw a dunk
Was that
on
any-
because he's got a couple guys that can get up too.
Was that any kind of fight to get that opened up? Because I know normally it's got to be
No, we
hush-hush. How does that?
We put in a petition, waiver, whatever you call it, and that's one of the waivers they gave us quickly because I think, you know, I think Kansas and Illinois are doing something too. So we're the 2 schools.
Time yet on it? Is it, I don't. Maybe after the Illinois game.
I think it's right before it. I think is theirs at night,
It's like 7, I think, or 8.
6 or 7. Then I bet yours is 4. I would guess in that area.
Tom, how you going to manage the expectations for all the great things they're saying about
You
you
know,
guys?
I'm going to have to manage them. You know that it's going to be crazy and this and that, but you know, for me, should be the norm. Sorry. I mean, most years, you know, the last 2 years we haven't had as high expectations. I told them that's not a good thing. So get used to what's good and learn how to deal with it. And we're not going to shun it, but we're going to have to. We'll see. You know what? That's why that game's important. Arizona's important because if we don't do our job, we're going to get our butts kicked. And that's happened some years when we thought we were better than we really were. So I think all that's going to help us.
That's a guy's back. You can tell on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that.
One last thing, real quick, Tom. I noticed Cassius' little brother. What's it like to have him? Be
Yeah, he's
involved
a
and be
GA
part
with
of-
us now,
Oh,
and so that's awesome too. You know, Kai's one of our GAs, and you know, keeping it in the family. You know, his family took care of me. I'm gonna take care of his family.
Just started this summer
Yeah,
for you guys?
this
Right
fall
now?
actually.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Guys, if
Thank
you
you.
want to get any B-roll of like the
Tom.
guys working out and stuff, please feel free. If you want to get any footage of the guys, as the kids are
Yep.
coming in,
Honey, Dad's going to be right here, okay?
feel free to, okay? No, that's it. Don't even worry about that. So there's going to be. What's that?
What's up, ladies?
So guys, the signs that we saw about no video, no cameras, don't hold right now. So you want to take, you can do it even when the camp starts. If you're planning on staying, I think it's